we're going to talk about alcohol ink techniques, which Stampin' Up! Doesn't necessarily have alcohol inks like everybody used to, or some other folks used to, but Stampin' Up! Has Stampin Blends, which are made from alcohol. The ink is out of alcohol. So we are going to play with that on vellum. Hello, somebody else tuned in. Let's see who that was. Hi, Cindy. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to be playing with alcohol inks, or Stampin' Up's version of alcohol inks on vellum. And I will introduce myself. I'm Kelley Pitts, and I have been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator since 2005. So quite a while I've been playing with this. I do have another full-time job, so I would love to do this full-time and hope I'm able to do that within the next year or so. And looking forward to having more time to play with y'all. So, oh, Eileen, I'm glad you are interested in doing the alcohol ink stuff. We're not going to play a ton tonight because there are a lot of videos out there, but I am going to show you kind of what I did to get the concept of the card that I'll be showing you tonight. And I can't show you a finished one because I haven't finished it yet. I just had the idea in my head. So it's going to be a lot of fun to play, and I'll be doing some more videos too. I had a class this weekend with a techniques class here in Lubbock, and had several people come, and we just spent about 2.5 hours just playing with the alcohol inks on vellum, and it was a lot of fun. And so I had some ideas of how to finish those cards out, but of course I had 4 different classes this weekend. So boy, I had to hit the ground running when I went back to work on Monday to my other job. So I hope you enjoy tonight's card and learn something new and think it's a lot of fun. And if you do want to order any of the products, you can go to my online store. Just go to createwithkelley.com and you can subscribe there. You can go to my online store and see any of the products that we're going to be using. So I've got a couple of different stamp sets that I'll feature tonight and some dies, and start off with the alcohol ink technique. So I'm going to show you a couple of those before we totally get going. And I have a weird thing in the middle of my screen up there. I don't know what that is, and it's stopping me from seeing comments on my phone. Let me see here. Let me try something and hope I don't lose you. If I do, please come back. I don't know what that is. Okay. My comments are, there we go. All right. Well, I'm going to show you some of the backgrounds that I've done. And I'll kind of show you here up in the air, I guess, before we switch the camera down. We'll see how this works. These are some of my favorite colors. This was the very first try I made with the alcohol inks technique. And these are Bermuda Bay, Granny Apple Green, Coastal Cabana, kind of in that color family. And you can play with it a lot of different ways, and I'm just going to show you kind of how I got this effect. There are a lot of different ways to get different effects, and then I'm going to show you how different this looks when we put a white background behind it. Look at that, how the colors just really pop now on this background. Are y'all seeing that? Can I get it close enough for you to be able to see what's going on? So that was one of the backgrounds that I did, and I'll probably show you again once I get the camera down. It might be show you a little bit better. And then I played with quite a bit different color here, and we'll show you that one. And then I also played with, this is more of a fall kind of color scheme, kind of with that same effect, but I embossed it with the stitchery dies, that greenery die that cuts it doesn't cut the leaves out, it just makes the little stitched leaves on it. Not exactly sure what that die is called. That's a new one that I've tried recently. And then here's that one with the white behind it. So you can see all the fall colors. And this reminds me, I cannot remember the glass blower that's in Vegas that has that gorgeous, I think it's at the Bellagio, where it has all those gorgeous flowers hanging from the ceiling. That kind of reminds me of that. I just think it's beautiful. Here's another one with the similar colors from the first time. And this is how I had it mounted to actually do this. I kind of show you from different angles here. All right. And then here's another totally different color scheme that's still mounted. What do you think of that one? Are y'all seeing any you like? But you can basically make a gorgeous DSP similar to the Expressions in Ink one just by working on it yourself with the alcohol inks. And then here's another one that I decided to do some bright colors with. And we have the Polished Pink and Pale Papaya, little Granny Apple Green, Daffodil Delight. And you can see the, hopefully you can see the little dots or specks in there that were drips of alcohol. So there we go. There are several of those, and I haven't shown you the one that we're going to work with tonight yet. We'll wait till we turn the camera down on that one, and I guess I'll go ahead and get going on that. I'll turn the camera down and we'll see how we fare here. Glad y'all have tuned in, Eileen and Cindy. And if anybody else pops in, please let me know in the comments that you're watching. And glad you tuned in. Just by tuning in, you become part of the Create with Kelley crew. So I'm Kelley Pitts, again, Stampin' Up demonstrator since 2005 in Lubbock, Texas. And I can help customers all across the U.S. So that makes it a lot of fun. Somebody else popped in. So thank you for joining. I'm about to switch the camera down, so hang on. I'm going to cover it up, so if anybody gets seasick or anything, just a sec. Oh, I'm still here, so hope y'all are still with me. Give me a second to get it oriented. I can't really see what you're seeing immediately, so give me a moment. Woo, not enough light in there. Let's see if we can get a different color there. Maybe that's a little brighter. Not exactly on the straight side here. See which way we need to go. And I do have a hostess code. If y'all are interested in placing an order, I would really appreciate it if you do use the host code for that order, unless your order is $150. And in that case, you would want to get your own hostess credit, and I would want you to. So this just helps me to be able to provide videos like this for free. Let's see if that's a good, we'll tune that down and get going. Thank you for sharing, Susan. Thanks for tuning in. And I will catch you back up, Susan, on the ones, I don't know if you saw some of the cards that we've done. Yes. Trying to get settled here. Sorry, it just takes a minute. You see, I think is that any better or still shadowed? We're still crooked. Alrighty. Thank y'all again for tuning in, and please do continue to share, and even if you missed the part of the card class and then want to watch the replay or share the replay, that would be awesome. Okay, what we're going to do tonight, I'm going to go back over kind of how I came up with some ideas for these alcohol inks that we played with over the weekend. My initial one, like I said, was just because I love, these were kind of my favorite colors, And I loved playing with these. I know if some of y'all have been in my house, I have furniture in these colors. And the alcohol does make the paper kind of curl up. But I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what you can do with a card like this if you use that as a card front. And I think it is just gorgeous. Whoops. I should have brought some blocks with me here to weight this down. But I don't know if y'all can see this exactly, but you can see how the sailing home dies, any of the vellum, like the flourishing, forever flourishing, or ferns and that kind of thing. See how you could make kind of that be an underwater scene. Let me see if I can hold this up. And I just haven't worked on finishing any of these cards yet, so just kind of am giving you ideas tonight of kind of what can happen. But you can see how that kind of makes a sea kind of scene. And then what I decided to do was, I thought, well, I'm missing part of the things I was going to show you. Sorry, that'll have to be a different time, I guess. But I am going to show you on this one. I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if I could have something work underneath the dies and kind of do it on purpose. So what I decided was to try something with the artistic blooms dies, or artistically inked, that and I don't see it, but I've used it quite a bit from that Expressions in Ink suite. So what I came up with, I looked at the die and what that was going to be, how it was going to fit on the paper, and then I tried to make a background that would work with that die. So that's where I came up with this idea. And I'll put, this could be in white, it could be in vellum, it could be in black, it could be however you wanted it to be on the card front. But this way, I kind of positioned where the leaves would be toward the green and the two main flowers would be different colors. So it really kind of worked out the way I wanted it to. And it made me start thinking of what else could I do with the different dyes, and intentionally work on the alcohol ink to make it work with that dye on top, so that I automatically had somewhere to go with the layout of the card rather than just playing with the inks, just random inks. So I also came up with the same kind of idea. I was thinking of this Dandy Wishes dies, and I promise I'll get to the card we're showing you shortly, but I just kind of wanted to give you some ideas of how you could play with things when you're doing this. And this one, I'm going to take a piece of white and put it under that so you can kind of see that better. And this one, I was thinking this was kind of a pool party color, and that would be my sky, and then I'd have some greenery down and make a card that way. And what I did on this one, I'll show you shortly. Whoops. Sorry, live video interrupted. Hope I haven't lost you. I used a little blower when I had the alcohol inks wet. I'll refer to this later. But this is when I used this little blower. Can you see how it made the little lines here? And I kind of did that to mimic this die that I knew I wanted to use. So you do have some control on these backgrounds of kind of how you want it to look, but every time you do it, it's going to be different, and every color you use is going to be different, of course. So that is kind of where I was headed with that. And I'll get going on the card we're going to make tonight. And we're going to use the Timeless Tropical stamp set and In the Tropics dies. And we're going to make a pineapple. How fun will that be? We'll have a pineapple card. which I think I've got the pieces pretty much cut, because I think if you're going to do a card like this, that you probably already know how to use the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and all that. So I'm not going to show you each step. I'll be glad to share a PDF later if we need to. But for this card, like I said, I had in mind that I was going to use these dies when I did the card front. And do y'all want to be totally surprised at the card as we go along, or do you want me to show you kind of a rough right now so you have an idea as we're doing the experimenting with the alcohol ink? Y'all let me know what you want. Do you want a kind of a sneak peek at a partially finished card, or do you want to totally be surprised as we go? Anybody have an opinion about that? Everybody still here? I know it takes a bit for the comments to come up. Okay, anybody? All right, I'm going to show you then a rough of kind of what I'm thinking, and I'm going to have y'all help me decide which embellishments you want to use and all that. If we want to use ribbons, or Susan likes surprises. Anybody else out there want to be surprised? Okay. All right. Well, we'll go with what Susan wants. How about that? She is a wonderful customer, and I'm happy to have had her in my classes for years and years and years. So you are getting your way with the surprises. Yay! Everybody wants a surprise. Okay. Fun, fun. I will move these for the time being and show you how we played. And it was such fun to play with these this weekend at our techniques class, and hope y'all can join me for some techniques classes soon. We're going to have a part 2 where we actually make the cards, since we just mostly played with backgrounds Sunday. Move this out of the way a little bit. Play with this. What we're going to do is take this one off, because I didn't bring more painter's tape in here with me. And I just used the blue painter's tape. You could use whatever you have that is not going to peel your vellum off. Just kind of, it could be washi tape, it could be whatever. You might just try it before you get to your final piece of vellum. You know, play with some first. And we're going to just put this, I think I'm going to do it on the sides, because I'm going to show y'all one way. There are different ways to mount your vellum to your white cardstock once you kind of have it the way you want. And because you don't want the glue showing, but there are several different ways to try, and I haven't even been able to try all the ways yet, because like I said, we spent all Sunday afternoon just basically playing with backgrounds. So we had a lot of fun. But what I'm going to show you right now, and there are a lot of different videos, as I said, online that you can watch to kind of play with the blends. But what we're going to do is take our Stampin' Blends. You need to use on the alcohol, it needs to be at least 91%. That's what I used. I know some people found a 99%, which it helps dry quickly, and that's part of this technique is the way that the alcohol makes that ink move and it dries quickly. So the 70% just really doesn't work. I haven't heard anybody say they had success with that, just because it's not a high enough alcohol content, too much water. For this technique, speaking of water, had to have a little sip. Okay, this is the 91% alcohol, and I just put it in a little cup. You could put it in anything you want to. This is, and then I took a water painter, or this is an old aqua painter, because I wasn't sure how the alcohol would do on the bristles of our new water painters. So I just took an old one. You could use like an old Wink of Stella brush. You could use a paintbrush. Every brush you use is going to give you a different technique, a different result with this technique. It's really a lot of fun to play with. So what I decided was I'm going to have a pineapple, and y'all saw the Tropics dies. So I'm going to do greens at the top for the leafy part, and I'm going to do some yellows with a little bit of orangey and all that for the bottom part. So I watched a lot of different videos. Some people scribble everything all over the whole card, and some people do one area at a time. And I really preferred the one area at a time kind of business. So I'm going to leave some room around the sides. I'm just going to scribble some with this, with the Daffodil Delight dark, and it's really the dark markers that show up the most. And I'm dabbing this all around the edges, and I'm kind of pouncing with it and getting the alcohol to blend that edge. And you can see how it is already moving, how much it moved that alcohol there. And you can do some little drops into that if you want and see how that affects it. You can go back over it with more ink if you want to. I would just, I'm going to take the next little area and do a little, let's see, we're going to put a little bit of pumpkin pie in there. And I go about doing the pouncing with the alcohol here. And then when you pounce between the two, it will blend those colors. Okay, so we're going to go back just a little bit more into this area. I'm going to go some more yellow here. And I'm doing it upside down, aren't I? We'll flip it in a minute. Nobody knows. I'm going to do a little bit more of that. And I'm going to use the little blower that I had just to show y'all. Let me see if I can get close enough. See how quickly it dries, but it pulls that color. Look at that. Isn't that fun? How it just makes those little rivers in there. And then you can move that around. You can also get it wet enough to see movement on the paper. But it does need to be on vellum. It doesn't work on just cardstock. Even the glossy cardstock, it may work. I've heard of Upo paper or something like that. Stampin' Up does not have it, but I have heard that that works. But I don't think it doesn't work the same way the vellum does. So like I said, every card is going to be totally different every time you do this. Okay, we're going to do a little bit more of that. Can you see that moving? Like a pen or a Wink of Stella or something, and dip your, whatever your paintbrush is, into it. And then that makes the spots. We'll see if you can see that. Can you see the little spots that that's making? Isn't that fun? Okay, now we're going to flip it over and do the top part, which I was thinking was the bottom, but nevertheless, we are going to start with some green apple green, and I always start with the lighter, just because I don't want to mess my marker up. I don't want to get, if you start with a dark and then put your light and it gets into it, then you have a dark inside your marker, so we don't want that. And I'm just kind of scribbling a blob. There's no right way, wrong way, anything. Okay, we're going to blow this a little bit. Try to do things so y'all can see how it works. Isn't that fun? Yes, a medicine dropper works too. Okay, we're going to put a little old olive in here too with it, with the granny apple. And yeah, there are lots of videos out there that show you a lot of different ways to do this. I just kind of like the way this worked, and they bled into each other, and that you could use this as a background and do whatever dyes, anything you want on top. Put a little more old olive on the side, and you'll see why shortly. So that gives you an idea of how this works. You can make them splotchy, make little dots. I'm kind of making a mess right here on my pad. I should have had my paper towel down all over. I'll have to fix that later. Okay, let's let it run a little bit. And you could use a straw to kind of blow this. You can, whatever floats your boat. You just kind of play until you get something you kind of like. And we're going to let this dry. And I'm going to go ahead, in the essence of time, I'm going to go ahead and use the one I already have done. That's very similar to this, but like I said, totally different. I'll show you this one. And what I did was score this on each side. I'll show you beside each other here. See how different they are? I used a little bit more of a blue or green in here. I think I used some shaded spruce in there. And I'll show you that with the white background. So you can see it's the same concept, just looks totally different. Same colors basically, but looks a lot different. So however you want to play, you play with your Stampin' Blends. As long as it's the alcohol markers, the Stampin' Blends, that works on the vellum. So what we're going to do is take this one, since it's totally dry and I've already got this cut and scored, we're going to add this. We're going to use the, I scored about 1/2 inch on each side, and I'm going to wrap that around this white cardstock here. And just, I can use seal, I can use tear and tape, whichever. I think probably the Stampin' Seal Plus even. I think I'm going to use tear and tape just to make sure it stays in place the way I want. And I'm just going along the edge. This is going to be hidden, which is why I'm doing it this way. We're going to play with another embellishment shortly, or another element on the card, and I'll show you what glue dots look like. But for the main body of the card, I wanted to try to hide the glue as much as I could, or adhesive. There we go. Move these out of the way. And ooh, I hope I brought a Take a Pick tool in here. I'm going to need that. I haven't totally unpacked from all my classes this weekend, so I'm just going to, yikes, did not get that exactly straight, and I bet I'm stuck with it. Yes, I am. So don't try to pick this up and do this on camera here. Oh my goodness. We may have to trim that a little bit. Trying to stretch it over a little bit. And we'll use our bone folder. We can find it. I just really try so hard to bring everything in here I'm going to need. And then it just disappears on me. Okay, I'm going to let y'all look at these and use your imagination on what we're going to do here. And I will be right back. Okay, I found them. Texture tool and bone folder. Just can't live without these. Okay, I'm trying to rescore that a little bit because I got it a little off. Okay, now, oh, I did something I didn't intend to do. But that's okay. That's how we learn, right? I'm going to use the little Stampin' Up guillotine trimmer that we had at one time. That is not available right now, but boy, it's not liking that. Okay, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll use my little trimmer, my scissors. And finish trimming that. That was a little too thick for it, I guess. Wasn't happy about that. Let's try it one more time. Okay. Kind of gets to one spot and sticks. This is fun, y'all letting me surprise you. I'm going to move this alcohol out of the way. I bet y'all have been saying, Kelly is going to spill that for sure. And you just clean your water painter, aqua painter, paintbrush. Just use the alcohol. I'm going to get some more on there. Dipped a little more alcohol out of the jar, and because I didn't put it in here because you have more control over the dots, blotches, whatever you want to call them, if you don't have it inside. All right, now I've already totally changed what I intended to do earlier, but that's a lot of the fun of this, right? Okay, we're going to tear and tape this because I intended to wrap this around the green piece. That's what I did earlier. I wrapped it around here and adhered it instead of doing it this way. But too late now. So we're going to do this. And I have an old olive card base that's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And then I just went in on the sides. I went in 1/2 inch and cut. Just a sec. Got to concentrate. I can usually multitask quite a bit, but tear and tape's a little stickier wicket than the others, right? You have to be a little more conscientious about what you're doing here on this than you do a liquid glue or something. Alrighty. So now we're going to adhere that piece, and probably, and like I said, I would recommend that if you're going to do this and not doing it on camera where you're not, whoop, got a little wild there. with my tape grabbing. All right, we'll just use our take a pick tool. It wasn't liking my fingernails there. We're going to attach this to the front of that. Try to get this as even as we can on that one side, and it should be close. Okay. Now I'm going to have to stick a glue dot underneath this corner that got torn during all that rigmarole we were working on, so we'll see how they look under here. Didn't look like anything because it didn't come off of my take your pick tool. Look at that. I got a splinter in my finger somehow just then. What in the world? It's like I cut it with some vellum. Weird. Alrighty. So we'll just put another glue dot over on this other side. I was hoping not to have to do that. Well, maybe I won't. This one's just sticking up. Like I said, I got a little wild there on that. Okay. And I got that a little crooked. So we're going to trim that just a little bit, and always trim from the back side. I'm going to try to do this the left-handed way. This may not work very well, but y'all will get the concept of where I was headed with the card. And then if you make your own, you can be a little more exacting with it. So I just cut my whole edge off that I so carefully tear and taped. Oh my goodness. And I have the glue dots that are on the wrong side here. Have y'all gotten some of those? Some of the rolls that they did, it was just a weird production run, I think, where they put them on this side instead of on the roll part. Okay. Now, we're ready to play. All right, now on the inside of the card, I decided to bring this Daffodil Delight color in and use our basic borders dies. I'll show you those in case you've missed some of my other videos that I've used these on. I've used the cloud ones, and then I've used this one on one of the Expressions in Ink ones, and then today I used this one. That's kind of like a big zigzag. I thought about this one, but I thought this one looked a little more pineapple-y. Is that a word? Pineapple-y? Oh, yes. All right, now we will glue this down. And you could use your Stampin' Seal. You can use your favorite liquid glue. We can use the Stampin' Up Tombow, whatever you want to use. I'm just using the liquid glue I have handy. And we're going to put this inside, kind of line it up evenly. And since we have a little wiggle room, I'm going to go ahead and close this front, kind of let y'all see where we're headed with this. So that will be the inside. And we'll put a little piece of white in here, but I'm going to stamp on it first. There we go. Now, I'm going to let y'all look at my idea. The whole reason I did the green on top and yellow here, and that was to put a vellum pineapple on here so that it's a very kind of an artistic expression of a pineapple. It's not an in-your-face bright green and yellow pineapple, but it certainly gives you that idea, I think. It's just the tricky part is going to be how we're going to mount that on there. But that was my thought. Glad you like it. Thanks for the heart. Okay, I'm going to let you look at this, and then I'm going to show you. I did try something else here just to let y'all look at, but I feel like it covers up our wonderful artsy stuff here. If I use the white kind of behind it, it kind of works, and then it kind of, I'm not sure. So I'm gonna let y'all tell me. It covers up a lot of the ink. It kind of looks like a ghost pineapple to me. So I wasn't as happy with it as just the vellum. The pineapple itself shows up more, but the background behind doesn't show up as well. So let y'all see what you think. I'll put it back down here where you can kind of see the whole card again. And then where I'm headed is probably with a happy birthday across that I've embossed in gold on the old olive. And I have a couple of ribbons to play with, but I kind of want to hear, yeah, me too, me too. Good, good, good. All right, I like plain vellum better too. Yay. Okay, and there are a couple of different ways, like we said, to put your glue on here. Oh, and y'all tell me, which way does the pineapple go? Which way are these little V's on a pineapple? They're upside down like that, right? I was about to put it on upside down. I think I'm going to use glue dots to adhere this. You can use a sponge with some liquid glue, put it on your silicone mat, and go over the whole thing with the glue. But I really kind of want some of them poking up. I don't want it to all be solid and flat. So my idea is just to use some glue dots. And I think with this much going on, that people aren't going to be looking at it that closely and go, oh my gosh, she has a glue dot showing underneath there. Or that's my opinion anyway. So I'm going to pick some places that I can just stick the glue dot. Oh yeah, I can barely see it myself when I'm looking. So I think a recipient would be totally oblivious. So I'm just picking some of the bigger areas and strategically placing the glue dots behind those big areas. But this way you've got a lot of texture to it with the ink's background, and then it looks, I think it looks very artsy, which I like, as some of you know. Kind of an artsy kind of gal. I'm going to bend these up a little bit. This is all in that die, the In the Tropics dies, which I do love. We made shaker cards with this. I think you got to come to that one, Susan, a while back, where we made the Aloha pineapple cards, and they were shaker cards when this set first came out. I was really glad that this set carried over to this catalog. All right, I'm going to figure out where I want these, not on the sticky uppy parts. Just get some of the bigger areas that are going to remain flat. It's a little easier to find them on this, holding it up and then putting it down, instead of putting it down first like I did with the pineapple, but they were so small that I thought it'd be easier to do what I did on the pineapple part. But this leafy part, this will work. Alrighty, we're gonna stack that on there and leave some of these sticking up. Kind of press on those a little bit and hopefully they will kind of disappear. And I did find that cutting vellum with these intricate dies, that I did better if I cut 2 pieces of vellum stacked on top of each other and then pulled them apart. And then even if one of them didn't get all the dies out, you could go back and do it that way. But it kind of tore up my first one quite a bit, just doing it the one layer of vellum, because it's so light. And okie dokie, let's see here what y'all think. I did a happy birthday that I kind of fussy cut, that I did with the yellow and the green, but the yellow itself, that cardstock, that piece of cardstock, it must have been at one end of the run or something where it has a little texture to it, so it would not go solid in there. So I've got that happy birthday selection kind of like that. Or I kind of liked the happy birthday in the green. You could have it right at the bottom here and have it go all the way across. Or I can slant the sides, or I can fussy cut around it. I think, Cindy, the adhesive sheets would be great with the vellum. That would have been a good idea if I had thought to do that first. That's a good idea. Yes. Okay, so y'all like green better. Do you want it thinner? Do you think I should cut it thinner like this one, where it's kind of fussy cut around it? Or do you like the bigger, bolder green like that? I mean, I understand you want green, but do you want it smaller green cut like this, or big green like it is? What you think? And then I've got a couple of ribbons. I got a couple of ideas here. This is that gold thread from the Art Gallery series. The gold with the threads in it. Or do you want some of the shimmer gold instead? Cindy likes the wider piece. Okay. I think the bow is too much. It takes away from the pineapple, but I thought I'd show you an option or two. We can just do that gold ribbon down here underneath. I think if you go zigzaggedy or anything underneath it, it's going to be too much. Anybody? Do y'all like the gold threaded? I kind of liked it hanging over like that. This is wide enough you can stack the greeting on it and then leave it hanging over. What do y'all think of that? You like that kind of look? Or no ribbon. Or we could do a little ribbon, just a smaller piece. Yeah, it's just too much. It just takes away from the pineapple there, I think. Okay, we have no ribbon, no ribbon, or the gold artsy ribbon. Centered better, but okay, I like this one. I'm going to put this up on dimensionals and put the ribbon below it, unless y'all want no ribbon. If y'all speak up quickly, I'll use no ribbon. I may use no ribbon anyway. I've already lost it. Do y'all lose things sitting in one spot like I do? Oh my goodness. I think the seal often gets stuck on that ribbon, so I think I'm going to use glue dots on that. Just going to put several of these, see how that holds. Pretty well, evidently, judging from that. Okay. I'm just going to barely lay that on there, make sure that's what I want, and then we can trim those ends. And I'll put dimensionals here. That just gives it a little oomph. And then I'll put this on dimensionals. Just going to use this edge right here. I like to use my edges when it comes to something like this. And I'm just going to put that at the top, since we have the ribbon right below it. Whoop! I thought it was at the top. Nope, it's at the bottom. When you put it on upside down, that hides some of my pineapple. I'm thinking I'm going to move this whole thing down just a tad. everybody. We're going to move it. Move it over too. Okay, yes, the glue dots work well on that ribbon, peeps. FYI. Trying to get that even side to side there. There we go. And then we'll trim this off. Try to do it at an angle, but we shall see. It's going to fray a bit anyway. Okay. And then I was thinking we would use some metallic pearls here and there to tie in that gold. And these are some of the ones we've had in the catalog quite some time, the silver and gold metallic. Move some of this stuff out of the way here. Messy ribbon. Okay. And do y'all want to see them kind of scattered here and there? Or do you think we need them here? Boom, 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 like that. Anybody? You want to see a couple scattered? You could use sequins. You could use anything. We might put... I'm just barely going to lay these on here and see if we might want 2 or 3 in the middle here of our pineapple where the leaves connect to the pineapple part. Very subtle. Then we could scatter some if we want, or we could leave it like that. What do y'all think of this idea? Because I'm barely touching them, so I can scatter them if I want. Or we can put them like on every other one here. Of course, if we do that, I'm going to offset it. I know. Y'all would probably do them all right beside each other, but I think that's kind of cool, but I like scattered too. So leave these, take those off, scatter them instead. You like it? All right, that's kind of a totally different look than I would normally do, so that's kind of fun. Okay, let's do the inside. And my idea for the inside, I haven't tried it yet, just had the idea a while ago when I was prepping for this. And that is to take the little pineapple and we will, I'm just going to use the markers on this one. And we're going to use the Daffodil Delight on the marker part. And I'm thinking we may cover this with vellum to tie the inside, tie the outside to the inside. I'm going to do a little bit of that tapping with the marker. That's a little cinnamon cider. And we're going to put a little pumpkin pie because we had pumpkin pie on the front too. Now we'll do the granny apple green like we had on the front on the leaves. And do some of the, I don't have old olive. We're going to have to do, my old olive just disappeared, I think, at my last class, or it just was shot. Let's see. I forgot all about that I don't have my old olive. We just may have to do with the granny apple green and then do a little bit of, I may just do some cinnamon cider in there. And I'm just trying to make it have a little bit of a shaded effect. We'll try that and see how we like it. I'm huffing on it. That doesn't look too far off from the front. I'm going to do it again, and I'm thinking I'm going to do 3 in a row down here on the bottom. But I could just do the one. What time is it? Ooh, 8:13. I was thinking we might do 3 and put vellum over it, a small piece of vellum over it just to tie that in, but we may not have to. I should have put a little more pumpkin pie in there because we had more pumpkin pie on the front. We'll see how this works. Well, my pumpkin pie is pretty dried up too. That's part of the problem. Okay, and then I always like to have my figures sitting on something, so I'm going to use just a little bit of crumb cake, little swish here. Probably a little too much there, but that's how it goes. Yeah, that's a little too much. Maybe that'll dry. Let's see. If I had my aqua painter with something besides alcohol in it. I don't like that. I need my alcohol. Let's see. I'm going to flip that over and do it again. That was just too dark. We're going to try a little Sahara sand. And I think I'm going to do a blend instead on that. That way it'll be a lot lighter. We'll just use once again, I don't have everything in here, but I'm going to use, what am I going to use? Maybe like the pale papaya even might work. Nah. We'll try a little gray on that. I'm trying to get the color I want, even though I don't have my crumb cake in here. All right, that's a little bit lighter. We're going to clean this and try it again, and I'll see if I can get some more orange in there like I have on the front. Okay, so y'all like that idea, or you think I need 3 of them across, or do you just like the one at the bottom? What do you think? What do you think? Okay, that's the Daffodil Delight. And we're doing the Granny Apple Green. Because I'm going to have to buy a whole set of 10 markers just to get my Old Olive marker. But I'm sure I will use the others too, because I still use markers and blends both. Do y'all? Okay, we got some cinnamon cider in there. And I'm going to I do need pumpkin pie anyway. So hopefully, I can't remember if pumpkin pie is in the same color family with the Old Olive or not. At the moment, my brain's not working properly. We'll put some of this pale papaya in there. and a teeny bit of cinnamon cider. Have y'all ever done this little bouncing technique? It's really kind of a fun way to get some extra colors spread around. Okay, but you make sure you huff on it. And then we'll just set him right there. And now he's too high. Let's see, we may have to color him in a little bit. Sorry about this, peeps. We're gonna get Delight, Daffodil Delight, and whoa! That is definitely a pineapple now. All right, and I could use a little old olive blend in there. Since we're not looking at the back of this, it's not going to show, so we'll just put a little of the old olive in there ourselves. Here we go. We're going to hand make our own colors here to coordinate with the front. Okie dokie. I think that's all we need on the happy birthday is just a little pineapple inside. Is that a symbol, a welcoming symbol, right? Something like that. I think I'm going to just leave room to write and not put another greeting on the inside. Woo! I got a little bit too much glue there. Went a little crazy. Try to get that straight and get that centered. And this, if anybody's interested, again, this is 4 1/4 here. And I cut the yellow piece, I cut it at the full 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then put the borders on, and it brought it in just right. And then this, I believe, this piece is 3 1/4. I think, let me get the ruler that I dropped earlier. 3 inches. So it's 3 by 5 1/2. It's a little shaved off of the 5 1/2. It's not quite 5 1/2, but just because you've got that score there. But this gives you 2 totally different techniques. Two different looks on the pineapple, but it makes sure that they know that yes, indeed, that is a pineapple on the front, in case they missed it. But I think that's a fun way to use a background. So you can intentionally choose what color placement you want to make it fit the, sorry, I was reading Judy's message. Good, pumpkin pie and old olive are regals both. Good, good, good. I'm glad you joined us. So you can use any colors you want in any shape you want and color the whole piece of vellum if you want, whatever you want to do with the alcohol inks. I just kind of wanted to show you how to come up with the concept and take it from concept to execution of the alcohol inks, making that work so that I had green on top for the greenery of the pineapple and the yellows and orangey brownie on the bottom, and then taking that to a finished card. And I love the way these basic borders work. This triangular shape, it mimics the triangular shape in here. So I think that's a lot of fun. So hope y'all have enjoyed this card. I will turn you back around and say goodnight. Just a moment. Give me a sec. Okay, here we are. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I appreciate your comments, Eileen and Susan and Cindy and Judy. And hope anybody else who's watching enjoyed the card too. I'll show it to you one more time. Let's give you a little closer up here. And it doesn't look like much from a distance here because you kind of lose the vellum, but really up close it certainly comes off as a pineapple, but a very artsy one. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much. If you want to tune in to some of my classes, I will be doing some online classes coming up soon. I do have a knee replacement on August 10th, so my schedule is going to be a little bit different than what's posted online, but I'll try to get those changed up and figure out what all I'm capable of handling with that knee replacement. But I will have at least one class before then. So thank you again for tuning in, and please share my videos and pin my cards on Pinterest. It really helps me grow my business. And thank you for sharing the video, and we will see you soon. I will be back next Wednesday night for a Facebook Live at 7:15. And it may be a Christmas card. We've got some gorgeous new paper. So thanks again for tuning in. Fun times ahead. I appreciate your tuning in and sharing. Thanks for joining the Create with Kelley crew. Bye-bye.